Hong Kong and Macau sit barely 40 miles apart on China's southern coast, two special administrative regions that feel like different countries a single ferry ride apart. Treat them as one leg of a larger Asia trip, with Hong Kong as your gateway and base, and Macau as a day or overnight trip across the water. Hong Kong packs roughly 7.5 million people into 1,000 square kilometers of island, peninsula, and mountainous mainland. It is one of the most densely built places on Earth, a wall of skyscrapers pressed against steep green hills and a deep-water harbor. That harbor, Victoria Harbour, is the city's organizing feature, splitting it into Hong Kong Island to the south and Kowloon to the north. Macau is tiny by comparison, about 30 square kilometers across a peninsula and two former islands now joined by the Cotai Strip. It spent over 4 centuries as a Portuguese colony, which left a Mediterranean old town stitched into a Cantonese city of temples and egg tarts, both run on the one country, two systems model, so each keeps its own border control, its own currency, and its own road rules. For a first-time visitor to Asia, that makes them remarkably easy, with widespread English, safe streets, and world-class transit. Together, they pair skyline views, some of the planet's best food, and a slower, walkable pocket of colonial history. The catch is cost and crowds. Hong Kong hotels are small and expensive, and Macau's old center can feel shoulder to shoulder on weekends. Both share a humid, subtropical climate, hot and stormy in summer and mild in winter, which we will time precisely later. 3 to 4 days is the right amount of time here, roughly 2.5 in Hong Kong and 1 full day in Macau. Almost nobody crosses an ocean just for this, and you should not plan to either. Hong Kong works best as the anchor of a longer journey. It is one of Asia's great air hubs, and bullet trains from West Kowloon reach Shenzhen in 15 minutes and Guangzhou in under an hour. That makes the city a natural doorway into mainland China, or a comfortable first stop before continuing deeper into the region. Here is how to land, move between the two, and spend that leg well before you continue on. Almost every trip starts at Hong Kong International Airport, a large modern hub on Lantau Island, west of the city center. The airport express train reaches Central in about 24 minutes for around 100 Hong Kong dollars, close to $13 US. It is the fastest way in, though airport buses cost a fraction of that, and free hotel shuttle vans meet the trains downtown. Before anything else, buy an octopus card, the tap-to-pay card that covers trains, buses, ferries, trams, and most convenience stores. Hong Kong subway, the MTR, is fast, cheap, and signed in English, with most single rides between 10 and 20 Hong Kong dollars. That is roughly $1 to $3 US a trip, and the network reaches almost everywhere a visitor wants to go. Above ground, the century-old double-decker trams crawl across Hong Kong Island for under 4 Hong Kong dollars, the cheapest city tour anywhere. The Star Ferry is the other classic ride, crossing Victoria Harbour for about 5 Hong Kong dollars, well under a US dollar. Taxis are plentiful and start around 29 Hong Kong dollars, near 4 US dollars. But tunnels and traffic often make the train faster. Color tells you a taxi's range. Red works the urban core, green serves the new territories, and blue runs on Lantau. You will not need a car here. Hong Kong is one of the most transit-rich cities anywhere, and the core is tightly walkable. Getting to Macau is half the fun, since it sits about an hour away across the mouth of the Pearl River. The classic route is a high-speed ferry, running day and night from terminals in Sheungwan and Tsim Sha Tsui. Ferries run about 160 to 200 Hong Kong dollars each way, roughly 20 to 26 US dollars. The newer option is a shuttle bus over the long sea bridge linking Hong Kong, Zhuhai, and Macau out near the airport. Either way, you clear immigration twice, leaving Hong Kong and entering Macau, so carry your passport and skip duty-free liquids. Macau has its own small airport on Taipa, but most visitors arrive overland from Hong Kong rather than flying in. Once there, the historic center is small enough to cross on foot, and that is the best way to see it. The smartest local hack is the free casino shuttle buses, which loop constantly between the ferries, the bridge, and the big resorts. Public buses are flat at 6 patakas, under a US dollar, while taxis start near 21 patakas, but sometimes refuse the meter. Your Hong Kong dollars work almost everywhere in Macau at close to 1-to-1, so there is no need to rush to change money. Choosing a Hong Kong base is really about picking a neighborhood and a price, since fast transit makes the whole city reachable. Tsim Sha Tsui on the Kowloon waterfront gives you skyline views, the rail link, and the widest range of room prices. It is the easy first-timer pick, walkable to the museums, the promenade, the night markets, and a cluster of subway stops. Across the water, Central and Shengwan put you among the banks, the bars, and the steep escalators of the mid-levels. That side skews pricey and business-minded, but it sits closest to the Peak Tram and the Soho dining scene. Causeway Bay is the shopping heartland, dense with malls and restaurants and well-connected, though loud at street level. For lower prices, Mongkok and Yau Ma Tei in Kowloon drop you in the thick of the street markets for less. Wan Chai lands in the middle on both price and energy, a short tram ride from Central with a lively bar strip. Hong Kong rooms are famously small, so judge value by location and the nearest train more than by square footage. A hostel dorm runs about 250 Hong Kong dollars, near 30 US dollars, with simple private guest houses not far above. Comfortable mid-range hotels land around 1,100 Hong Kong dollars a night, close to 140 US dollars. Harbor View Luxury, a Peninsula, or a Mandarin Oriental starts past 2,000 and climbs steeply from there. For most first-timers, Tsim Sha Tsui is the best base, central to the sights, the transit, and the evening skyline. Macau splits even more sharply between the historic peninsula and the glittering Cotai Strip of mega resorts. The peninsula keeps you walking distance from the old town in smaller and often cheaper hotels near the ferry terminal. Cotai is wall-to-wall casino resorts like the Venetian, the Parisian, and the Londoner, with huge rooms and attractions inside. Those resort rooms are large and surprisingly affordable midweek, often near 1,000 patakas, around 125 US dollars. They spike on weekends and during the November Grand Prix, so time a Macau overnight for a weekday if you can. If you are staying only one night, the peninsula keeps you closest to the sites that make Macau worth the trip. Hong Kong's signature experience is the view from Victoria Peak, reached by a steep historic tram up the island's spine. The tram and viewing terrace cost around 150 Hong Kong dollars together, near 20 US dollars, and shine at dusk. Down at sea level, the Star Ferry crossing is the best cheap thrill in the city, especially after dark. Along the Tsim Sha Tsui waterfront, the Avenue of Stars frames the nightly Symphony of Lights show over the skyline. That light show is free, runs at 8 every evening, and pairs well with a harbor cruise on a restored junk boat. West Kowloon's new Arts District holds the M+ Design Museum and the Hong Kong Palace Museum, each worth a half day. Museum entry runs around 120 Hong Kong dollars, near 15 US dollars, and many public museums are free midweek. For something older, Tai Kwun turns a former colonial police compound into a free heritage and gallery quarter in Central. Nearby on Hollywood Road, the incense-filled Manmo Temple is one of the oldest and most atmospheric in the city. Up in Kowloon, the Qilin Nunnery and the adjoining Nanlian Garden recreate serene Tang Dynasty design, and both are free. Lantau, the big island that holds the airport, also hides a giant bronze Buddha, old fishing villages, and ridgetop hiking. Families have an easy win at Hong Kong Disneyland, on Lantau and reachable on its own dedicated subway line. It is the smallest Disney resort in the world. A single park you can comfortably finish in a day, not the multi-park, multi-day scale of Orlando. Kowloon's street markets are a draw in themselves, from the Temple Street Night Market to the jade, flower, and goldfish stalls of Mongkok. After dark, the Lan Kwai Fong and Soho Bar districts show the city's louder, later side. For green space and views, Hong Kong Park, Kowloon Park, and the Hillside Dragon's Back Trail are never far from the concrete. Out in the new territories, Sha Tin holds the 10,000 Buddhas Monastery and the excellent Hong Kong Heritage Museum. For a first-timers Hong Kong route, Day 1 stays on Hong Kong Island and ends across the harbor at dusk. Day 1 opens with the Peak Tram mid-morning, then 2 hours up top for the view and the Easy Loop Trail. Day 1's afternoon means dim sum in Central, the Tai Kwun Galleries, and Man Mo Temple, then the Star Ferry across at sunset. Day 2 crosses to Lantau, riding the cable car up to the Big Buddha and the monastery through the morning. Day 2's afternoon takes in the West Kowloon Museums, closing with the Symphony of Lights from the Avenue of Stars. If you have a third day in Hong Kong, give it to markets, temples, and the greener new territories. That morning runs through Kowloon's markets, from the flower and bird gardens to the jade stalls of Yau Ma Tei. The afternoon heads out to Sha Tin for the 10,000 Buddhas climb and the Heritage Museum, an easy train ride away. Macau trades skylines for a denser mix of European squares, baroque churches, and over-the-top casino spectacle. The ruins of St. Paul's, a stone church facade above a grand staircase, is the city's defining image and entirely free. Right behind it, Monty Fort and the Macau Museum lay out the city's Portuguese and Chinese history from the old ramparts. Below, Senado Square's wave-patterned paving leads past St. Dominic's Church through the Old Town to Ama Temple. The Macau Tower delivers the panoramic view and, for the brave, one of the highest bungee jumps in the world. On Cotai, the resorts are attractions themselves, with a half-scale Eiffel Tower, indoor canals, and the Team Lab digital art world. The big evening draw is the House of Dancing Water, a lavish acrobatic stage show at the City of Dreams Resort. Separately, Macau runs its own Giant Panda Pavilion, a government park out on Cologne Island, a cheap and easy stop that delights younger travelers. For quieter charm, Taipa Village and Cologne Village keep their Portuguese lanes, pastel chapels, and original egg tart bakeries. For a one-day Macau route, start early on the peninsula before the tour groups and the midday heat arrive. The morning walks the old town on foot, from the ruins of St. Paul's through Senado Square to Ama Temple. Midday means a pork chop bun and a Portuguese egg tart, then a taxi over to Taipa Village for a longer lunch. The afternoon shifts to Cotai and the resorts, ending with an evening show before the last ferry back to Hong Kong. Hong Kong is one of the world's great eating cities, and you can do it brilliantly on almost any budget. The core ritual is dim sum, the midday parade of steamed and fried small plates once pushed around on carts. Look for char siu roast pork, silky shung fun rice rolls, and shrimp shumai as the anchors of any table. A dim sum lunch for 2 runs, around 200 Hong Kong dollars, near 25 US dollars, at a busy local hall. Roast goose is the city's other signature, lacquered and crisp, best in the long-running shops of Sham Tsing and Central. For everyday meals, the Cha Chan Teng diners serve milk tea, pineapple buns, and thick French toast in fast, cheap comfort. These cafes are where locals actually eat, with full plates often under 60 Hong Kong dollars, around 7 US dollars. Street snacks round it out. From curry fish balls and skewered sayu mai to the crisp, eggy bubble waffle. The open-air Dai Pai Dong stalls still cook smoky wok dishes on the street in pockets of Central and Sham Shui Po. Hong Kong also serves one of the cheapest Michelin-starred meals on earth, a plate of barbecue pork rice for pocket change. Seafood lovers head to the stilt village of Layover or the harbor town of Sai Kung to pick dinner from the tank. A serious sit-down dinner for 2 climbs past 500 Hong Kong dollars, around 65 US dollars and up. Macau's food is its own reward, a 400-year blend of Cantonese and Portuguese cooking found almost nowhere else. Macanese cuisine gave the world dishes like minchi, minced beef with potatoes, and African chicken in a spiced coconut sauce. The Portuguese half shows up in salt cod bacalhau, green caldo verde soup, and whole fish grilled over charcoal. Street food peaks with the pork chop bun, a simple fried cutlet pressed into a crusty roll and eaten on the move. The most famous version, at a taipa shop, sells out daily, and a bun costs around 40 patakas, near 5 US dollars. Save room for a warm Portuguese egg tart, born at the original Lord Stowe's bakery out in sleepy Cologne village. Pick up almond cookies and sheets of sweet pork jerky along Taipa's old food street as you wander. Most of it is cheap, though the resorts also hold a cluster of fine dining rooms if you want a splurge night. On a single trip, you will juggle 2 currencies, but they track each other so closely that one plan covers both. Hong Kong dollars and Macau patakas trade near 1-to-1, and Hong Kong dollars spend freely on the Macau side. Roughly 8 Hong Kong dollars equal 1 US dollar, a handy figure for quick conversions on the ground. A budget day in Hong Kong runs around 600 Hong Kong dollars, about 75 US dollars, covering a dorm, transit, and street meals. Macau at the same level sits near 500 patakas, close to 60 US dollars once you step outside the casino hotels. Step up to moderate, and Hong Kong lands near 1,400 Hong Kong dollars a day, around 180 US dollars. Macau's moderate day is similar, near 1,300 patakas, with a private hotel room and proper sit-down meals. Those mid-range days assume a hotel room, table service food, and a couple of paid attractions or a show. A comfortable day with a 4-star room and nicer dining runs about 3,000 Hong Kong dollars, near 400 US dollars. Hotels drive the gap. Macau's Cotai resorts can undercut Hong Kong midweek, then leap well past it on weekends. Food and transit stay cheap in both, so most of your money goes to beds and the paid attractions. The good news is how many highlights cost little or nothing, from the Star Ferry to the Symphony of Lights to the temples. All of these are rough ranges at time of recording, so confirm current hotel and ferry prices before you book. Hong Kong and Macau share the same humid subtropical climate, so a single weather window covers both. The clear best stretch is late October into December, when the air finally dries out and the heat breaks. October highs sit near 29 Celsius, 84 Fahrenheit, easing into the low 20s by December. December turns cool and crisp, with highs around 22 Celsius, 71 Fahrenheit, and very little rain. Summer from June through September is the season to avoid, hot, soaking wet, and prone to typhoons. July and August each average over 360 millimeters of rain, with highs near 31 Celsius, 88 Fahrenheit. A direct typhoon can shut ferries, flights, and attractions for a day or two, so leave slack if you visit then. Spring, from March to May, warms up but turns increasingly humid and gray, with fog rolling over the peaks. January and February stay cool and mostly dry, a solid second choice, and they bring the Chinese New Year. That holiday fills the streets with parades and harbor fireworks, though it also shutters some small shops for several days. Spring brings the Hong Kong Sevens Rugby and the Art Basel Fair, both of which spike hotel prices when they land. Autumn adds the Mid-Autumn Festival lanterns and the city's Wine and Dine food fair along the harbor. Macau's headline event is the November Grand Prix, when race cars tear through the city streets and hotels sell out. If you want that race, book months ahead. If you do not, the weekend it runs is the one to avoid in Macau. Either way, aim for that autumn window. It is the difference between sweating through your days and enjoying them. A few practical points will save you friction, and several different ways that matter between the two regions. Most Western visitors, including Americans, enter Hong Kong visa-free for 90 days and Macau visa-free for 30. These rules are separate from mainland China, which does require a visa, so the local SAR policies are what matter here. If you plan to ride the train north into the mainland, sort that Chinese visa out before you leave home. On money, Hong Kong uses the Hong Kong dollar and Macau the pataka, though Hong Kong dollars are accepted across Macau. Cards work widely, but keep some cash for street food, market stalls, small shops, and the Macau buses. Restaurants often add a 10% service charge, so any tipping beyond that stays optional and modest. ATMs are everywhere and reliable, and the Octopus card quietly handles almost every small payment in Hong Kong. Neither region sits behind mainland China's Great Firewall, so Google, Maps, and your usual apps simply work. A travel eSIM or a cheap local SIM gives reliable data, and you will not need the VPN that the mainland requires. Both are very safe, with low crime and easy late-night transit, and solo travelers report few problems. The main hassles are tourist trap tailors and gem shops in Tsim Sha Tsui, so be wary of pushy street touts. A little etiquette goes far. Stand to the right on escalators, keep your voice down on trains, and do not eat on the MTR. Tap water is safe to drink in both, though many locals still prefer it boiled or bottled. Cantonese is the everyday language, but English is widely spoken in Hong Kong and common across Macau's tourist areas. The emergency number in both is 999, and pharmacies and clinics are easy to find. Packing here is mostly about heat, humidity, and a lot of walking, with a layer for cool autumn evenings. For clothing, bring breathable shirts. One light layer for the strong air conditioning and December nights, and quick dry fabrics for summer. Footwear matters most. Pack broken-in walking shoes, since both cities reward long days on foot and steep streets. For gear, carry a compact umbrella, a power bank, a UK-style plug adapter, and a refillable water bottle. Power runs at 220 volts on the British 3-pin plug, so that adapter is the one thing not to forget. Add light rain protection in any season, and proper sun cover if you travel through the hot months. So how did these two fit into your trip, and who is this short leg really for? Hong Kong is the headliner, best for food, skylines, transit, and travelers who like a dense, fast, walkable city. Macau is the contrast day, best for Portuguese history, easy walking, and a dose of pure resort spectacle. Together they suit a first-time Asia traveler who wants real range without the friction of language or rough logistics. They work for families too, with Hong Kong's Disneyland, Macau's separate Panda Pavilion, and the kid-friendly Cotai resorts. Food-focused travelers may get the most of all, since few places pack this much range into so few square miles. They are a weaker fit if you want quiet nature, empty beaches, or rock-bottom prices, since both run dense and expensive. If you only have time for one, choose Hong Kong and treat Macau as a bonus day rather than the reason to come. For most people, the split we opened with holds, leaning your days toward Hong Kong and saving one for Macau. And because Hong Kong is such a hub, this pairing slots neatly into the front or back of a bigger trip. From here you can ride the rail north into mainland China or fly onward across Asia in a couple of hours. That's our guide to Hong Kong and Macau. Everything mentioned is linked in the description below. If you are planning another trip, we have more guides waiting for you. And if you haven't yet, subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Thanks so much for watching.